itself. Oh, some of my ancestors. Now survivalofseeds.com wants you to become one of their heirloom seed farmers, and you can sell them back to them, your saved seeds, year after year, because demand is skyrocketing for the rare heirloom seeds. Yeah, the big Monsanto and others have bought up the vast majority of heirloom seed companies and then are stopping the sale of them and then hoarding them in underground bunkers. You can pull that up. Just Google Seed Arc. You'll also get a DVD teaching you how to sell your vegetable produce to restaurants, delis, and farmers markets. Slaves hesitate, patriots take action. Survivalofseeds.com, a family business that is helping the truth movement prepared. If you can't feed your family, folks, the FEMA camps will. And buy guns, buy gold, buy silver, buy water filters, and start growing a family victory garden because regardless of what happens, it's a good position to be in just to start becoming self-sufficient. Also, I want to tell you about EcoloBlue.com, the fine folks with their atmospheric water generators. It just looks like a water cooler without the water bottle on top. Grabs it out of the air. And it condensates 7.5 gallons a day. Even in the driest climates, it gives you over 3 gallons a day with their smaller units. They have big ones. And they have solar power systems, you name it, also on the site. EcoloBlue.com, ECOLO Blue.com. And then after it grabs it out of the air, it goes through an activated carbon filter, a silver-impregnated carbon filter, reverse osmosis system, the taste and color odor removal filter, and is stored in a tank illuminated by an antibacterial fungal UV light. 866-585-4044, 866-585-4044, EcoloBlue.com. Okay, let's go back to Bob Chapman. Bob, I got a lot of questions here, and I know the listeners do as well. How do you see, I mean, I ask you this every week when you're on, but you know, you always give us different nuanced answers. How do you, I mean, I see it accelerating. I mean, this is, I know you didn't expect to see them all over TV saying we're going into a depression and now have The Economist out saying that. But I guess as bad as it is now, you're saying in the next 2 years, it's just going to intensify. What will it physically look like on the streets? And then that's A. B, and we're going to calls. How will this equation work? This isn't some Soviet revolution, Bolshevik revolution where the people are disarmed and the dirtbag parasites can have their way. This isn't some Nazi revolution where they're disarmed and can have their way. This isn't some Maoist revolution where the people are disarmed. I mean, you've got 140 million gun owners, and higher than that, and millions of them want to start shooting. I don't want that to happen, folks, but the globalists are going to push. How is that going to work? I mean, I see this and they've got the cops all hyped up and out of their minds, you know, thinking they're doing a good job bringing in tyranny, revenue generating off the public that can't pay anymore. So A, how is this going to unfold? And B, how do you see it starting and blowing up or not?
Well, the major impetus will be unemployment, and those figures are much higher than what we're being given. And as we go into this year, the stimulus package, which they will get as soon as it's put before Congress, probably in late January, that'll start to go into gear probably in March and April. And that'll put things off for 6 months, maybe as long as a year. Often the respect that those who have laid off will go to work for the federal government in one form or another, either through one of the corporations that's dealing in the payoff to them from the federal government or the federal government itself. But once that money runs out, the only alternative they have is to create another $1 trillion to do it again because it's not working. And I think at that stage, sometime later this year, you're going to start to see demonstrations which I think could become violent.
Please continue breaking that down. What's the next step after that?
Well, the next step after that is the things that you talk about so well, and that is the police acting in behalf of the federal government, not your local police force, not your state police force or your county. The orders will come down, this is what you're going to do, and you're going to go out and pick up this list of people. And I think that will be the beginning. It'll start off with the threatening, and if you don't keep your mouth shut and stop doing what you're doing, we're going to come and bring charges against you because you're a borderline terrorist. and of course those who don't shut up will either have to hide and do what they do under the cover of darkness, or they'll go to an internment camp. And that's how the thing will evolve. And once that starts to happen, there'll be a certain segment of the population who will shut up and take orders and do as they're told. What that segment will be, it'll probably be half of them. And the other half will become more aggressive, perhaps in challenging government. If there's not enough food to go around or places to live in, I think people are going to start doing what is normally considered criminal activity, and that would be going and taking food and in other things from companies and government as well.
But that's the next issue. Again, proving this was premeditated, not just 2.5 years ago, getting the intel out of Bilderberg that they were going to implode the subprime mortgage by design to cause a global currency crisis that they would then come in and offer the world government as the solution. That now is happening, openly announcing world government will save you when the very same banking families have engineered this, and building the FEMA camps the last 7 years, now announcing the Army War College coming out and saying, yes, we are prepared to engage the American people. They're not even saying it's for Al-Qaeda anymore. They're having to admit to the troops, okay, get ready to go up against the people, though they still put out another brand of propaganda, on Times Square and big events. Oh, look, the troops are here to protect you from Al-Qaeda, but to their own people and in the newspaper. I mean, I have an article here out of mainstream news where they're calling for troops on the streets and saying how great all this is out of the Albuquerque newspaper. So, again, my point is they clearly have been preparing for this for decades. Is it that they knew their Ponzi scheme would implode and then they would offer the new solution of even greater power? I mean, any way you cut it, they engineered this.
Well, that's true. And, all along the way, you can never tell how things are going to go. That's why, the answer is relatively nebulous. As you go along, 3 months from now, we can have people doing the kind of things I just described, or it may take a year and a quarter. We just don't know. I mean, we know there's going to be problems. We know they could get violent. We know they probably will get violent, and they may become a revolution.
Well, let's say they try to go pick up 10,000 people in the first wave. Under the cover of food riots and breakdown of society, people will say, do whatever you have to, just give us our football games again. If 1% of 10,000 fight back, that's hundreds of people fighting back. If they try to, and no doubt hundreds of thousands are going to conservatively fight back by the time this is over. The Second Amendment comes into the equation, Bob. I don't see any way that the establishment can win this thing.
Well, I don't either, and they will do it under the cover of law. And that means that in order to defend yourself and not be dragged off, then you're going to have to break the law, whatever that law is, and the law will be whatever they say it is. And so what it's going to come to is the people who have spoken out against things within government and business, they will try to collect them, and the shooting will start. It's interesting, too, and we always talk about America, but, this is going to happen worldwide. And I've lived in a lot of countries, and I speak several languages, and I got to tell you something. In all of those countries, particularly in Latin America, the people are fairly well-armed in those countries, too. And I think this time around, if this sort of thing is tried to be enforced upon them, they're going to shoot back, too.
Well, that's why the United States is giving now over $100 billion a year to Mexico to get rid of the old-fashioned potbelly corrupt cops and have the paramilitary black uniform guys everywhere. But that's not going to work either when they go home and their own family shoots them.
That's true, and that they're parading them through the streets on trucks daily in major cities throughout Latin America because of this threat of narco traficante inspired violence, and they're